All set.
All right, so welcome everyone. I'm Jessica. Nice to meet you virtually. I am an integrative nutrition health coach, and the meaning of that is I basically mentor, I educate, and I help others live a happier and healthier life. So today's topic, we're going to go over 10 daily healthy habits that you can start incorporating into your life to notice change and improvement in maybe your mood, your energy, maybe your overall happiness. Maybe if you're looking to lose weight. So, depending on what your goals are, these you could implement into your daily routine, or maybe you just take a few of them and implement them into your daily routine. So, we're going to go over the content. I have it here for you guys to reference. Uh, I also will be emailing you. So Peter will be emailing you all of this. So you don't have to necessarily take notes if you don't want to. And then I'm going to give you some recipes at the end to try at home. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. Just healthier meals that are easy to make, delicious, and of course, nutritious. I definitely encourage you all to ask questions if you have or make comments. There's the chat box that you can definitely ask questions in, or you could, of course, unmute yourself, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have or just respond to any maybe comments that you have as well. So, creating a healthy lifestyle, and this is going to mean something different for everyone, right? In order to be quote unquote healthy, you really need to implement many different areas of our lives in order to live a happier and healthier life. So that's going to include your nutrition, your movement, and typically when we want to lose weight or we want to get healthy, we think that it just results in what we eat and how much we move, but it actually is so much more. We also should look at our stress, our career, our relationships. How does that affect our overall health and wellness? So, we're going to go through some 10 daily healthy habits. These are kind of tips. And again, maybe you want to implement one or two of these into your life, or maybe you want to implement all of them. I don't think someone's muted, but so let's get started. So the first one is drink water. This really seems simple, but many people are dehydrated and don't drink enough water, especially now when it's hotter out, we're sweating, or we're just more dehydrated. So you want to aim for half your body weight in ounces each day. And this might alter depending on maybe how much movement you make, how much you're sweating, how hot it is, but that is a good gauge. So half your body weight in ounces each day. And I recommend drinking actually just plain water, or maybe if you wanted some sparkling water. I'm not talking about the water that is in tea or necessarily coffee as well. So you just want to focus on drinking water. I recommend adding in some lemon. You could do lemon, lime, maybe some fresh berries if you want to add some flavor to it. And in order to make sure that you're drinking throughout the day, I always have a water bottle with me. So tonight, I even have a huge mason jar of water, and it just holds me accountable to make sure that I'm drinking enough throughout the day. So, depending on the size, you know how many of those cups or water bottles you need in order to stay hydrated. So we oftentimes, or we are when we wake up, we are dehydrated. So you really want to make sure that you start getting water into the body early in the morning upon waking. So I recommend for everyone upon waking, drink at least 8 to 16 ounces of water before you have your cup of coffee or your tea, or maybe you're drinking a juice or whatever you're drinking. Start with water to rehydrate your cells. And a lot of times, dehydration is the cause of you being hungry, or maybe it's the cause of you having a headache, or maybe you have low energy. So think back to the basics where drinking water is quite simple. So if you're feeling a little out of balance or you're not feeling your best, make sure that you are drinking enough. Um, the next one is fasting. Try fasting. And two, before we go through all these, I recommend you consulting your doctor. I'm not aware if you guys have any medical issues or anything going on. So always consult your medical profession or your doctor before trying these. Fasting is not for everyone. So, what is fasting? It doesn't mean that you're not eating for a full day. It can mean that, but giving your body a break from digesting the food. So a lot of times we're so used to eating, right? We're eating meals throughout the day, then we're adding in snacks, maybe dessert. So our body is not really given the opportunity to digest our food. And a fast can mean 12 hours, which is not that long of a time, especially if you do it overnight. So, say you stop eating at 7 p.m., you don't start eating again until 7 a.m. at least. And depending on how well you feel or what else is going on in your life, you might be able to extend that as well. So, digestion typically takes about 8 hours to fully digest. So, also, too, you don't want to eat so close to bed. You want to give yourself, your body, a couple hours before you go to sleep that you're able to start digesting your food. That will also help improve sleep, or it's said to help improve sleep. So that's something as well. But fasting allows our cells to rejuvenate, it allows us to digest. And a lot of times we're eating out of maybe boredom or maybe we're stressed. So we're dealing with all these other emotions, and that's causing us to overeat or eat more than we necessarily need to. So it's kind of challenging yourself to take a break, try fasting, and see how it works for you. Also, it could be a good tool if you are trying to lose weight in providing yourself with a limited window of when you are eating your food. So that could be a good way to restrict calories, burn more fat. So that is an opportunity there as well. And then the third, eat whole foods. There's so many different diets out there. There's a lot of different ways to eat, and it's acknowledging that what works well for me might not work well for you, and vice versa. So it's kind of, I don't believe in dieting. It's really has to be a lifestyle in order for you to really implement change in your life, have sustained weight loss, and it's kind of, again, bring it back to basics, right? So how do we eat more whole foods, and what are whole foods? And those are your fruits and your veggies, your nuts and seeds. These are nutrient dense foods. They're going to help keep you full longer. They also are full of fiber. So really, when you have a meal, wouldn't it be great to kind of count the amount of plants that are on your plate? Eating a variety of fruits and vegetables is really ensuring that you're getting a variety of nutrients in your diet, antioxidants. Each color of the carrots and watermelon or cabbage are serving a different purpose in your body. So just realizing that and focusing on food that has an expiration date, and that would be for the most part whole foods. So again, try to limit these processed foods. I notice now in the stores, keto is definitely trendy. People are really into low carb, but when I look at the ingredient labels on some of these keto products, they're not really true keto. So again, trying not to get caught up with the trendy diets and focusing on just eating real food. we are going into the summer months and there's amazing farms and farm stands and farmers markets accessible to us. So definitely utilize that. Or if you have your own garden, that's amazing too. And you're able to grow some of your vegetables and herbs. That would be amazing. Personally, I joined a CSA, which if people are not familiar with that, it's a community supported agriculture. So what happens is every week you would get a variety of vegetables, and you really could get it for a small fee. I think I'm paying about $25 a week for organic vegetables. So it's a great way to know where your food's coming, know your farmer, and support local, but also too to maximize the produce that you're getting. I mean, if you think about how many miles is needed for your food to get to where, whether it's Costco or Lidl or Stop and Shop, all those vegetables and fruits are most likely picked when they're unripe and they're ripened as they travel to the store. So being able to utilize the farmers markets is a great way to start incorporating more whole foods into your diet. And also, it said, when we start to eat in season, it is more tasty. I don't know if anyone has seen or tasted the difference, especially with tomatoes. I mean, tomatoes in season definitely taste much better. Even strawberries are much sweeter in season than they are in the winter months. Excuse me. So the next four is avoid refined sugar. So sugar, we know, can cause inflammation. Sugar also is going to cause you to crave more sugar. So it's really understanding how much sugar you are incorporating into your diet and where can you cut back. So are you adding sugar into your coffee or your tea? What are you eating for breakfast? Are you eating a cereal or an oatmeal that has added sugar into it? So again, it's just kind of knowing what you're feeding your body and trying to reduce that. So refined sugar, white sugar, but really all sugar in general besides fruit. So if you must, natural sugars such as maple syrup or honey, those are better options. But again, be cautious of how much you're using a day. So according to the American Heart Association, it is recommended that women get no more than 6 teaspoons, which is about 25 grams of added sugar each day. And men, it's a little higher, it's 9 teaspoons, which is about 36 grams of sugar each day. So again, be mindful of that. I always have my clients write down a food journal for me. So whether you want to put it in your phone or maybe you're handwriting it, it's really great and an insight into what you're intaking each day and where maybe you're eating foods that aren't serving you in a positive way. So, are you getting a lot of sugar in the morning, or are you intaking a lot of sugar in the afternoon and that's causing your midday crash? Is just, again, being more aware as to what you're putting in your body. And then that brings us to five, avoid processed foods. So crackers, cookies, chips, all that good stuff in the grocery store. These are just empty calories. And I think everybody could relate, right? You could eat a whole package of cookies from the food store or a whole bag of chips and it doesn't even really fill you up. So again, those processed foods, they don't have any nutritional value. They're not nutrient dense foods that are going to help fuel your body in a positive way. So, being mindful of that is really important to help avoid them. So, also, these processed foods have added sugar. So again, we're working on reducing our refined sugar. So the processed foods you're eating, is there sugar? How much salt is in there? And then what are the ingredients? I mean, are there real ingredients are there in there, or are there ingredients created in a lab? So being mindful of that. And then the next is mindful eating. And I think this one is really difficult because we live in this busy world and we're constantly on the go. And this year, this past over year has been extremely stressful and challenging for a lot of people, if not all people. And mindful eating is something that you need to be mindful of. So, how do you practice mindful eating? And it really starts with sitting down at a table. If you're going to eat your meal, that's what you're focusing on. But oftentimes we get distracted. We're eating in front of the TV, or we're eating while we're on the computer or on our phone. So it's just, again, when you're going to eat a meal, that's going to be your main focus. So sit down at the dinner table. Don't eat in the car if you can. And of course, there's times where we're not perfect. And I always focus on the saying progress over perfection, right? Because no one is perfect and we're all just doing the best that we can. So being mindful with yourself that progress over perfection. Whenever you can control your environment and control when you're eating your meals, then that's when you sit at the dinner table. And it's often hard to do sometimes, but when you start sitting down and eating a meal and you focus on chewing, you actually will notice that you're consuming less food, less calories. And you'll notice that you are going to get full faster because when we're sitting in front of the TV or we're on our phone, there's no trigger from our brain to our stomachs telling us that we're full. So we're just kind of mindlessly eating, we're mindlessly shoving food in our mouths, basically. So again, just being more in tune with your body, focus on being present, sitting down, and without distractions, whether you're sitting at the table by yourself or you're sitting with another person and you're able to have a conversation with, it's just kind of chewing your food, putting down your fork every so often so it gives your body a break and you're really able to understand whether or not you're hungry. Also, too, it might be making yourself a plate and eating that and just allowing your body to digest a little bit. If you feel hungry, can you drink a glass of water? Or maybe go for a walk and see if you're hungry again. And something to think about is if you eat something and you feel full and you're hungry in 2 hours, then you could eat again. So, we have plenty of food surrounding us. So number 7 is going to be movement, and whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, and just get some kind of exercise. I think that is one area, especially in the pandemic. A lot of us are working on the computer or, constantly sitting down, whether it's at the TV, and it's just get up and move. Make it a point that every day that you do some kind of movement. And again, it could be as little as 10 minutes. The weather has been beautiful. I know it's been hot, but can you get outside and go for a walk? Get some fresh air, get some sun, and really just get some movement in and be aware of that. If you're sitting a lot, get up, walk around the house a little bit, stretch a little bit. And I'm really an advocate of doing what you love. If you love walking, that's what you should do. Maybe if you love yoga, go to a yoga class, but maybe bike riding, whatever you enjoy doing, that's really what you should focus on. But I am a strong believer in adding that movement. Also, movement for most people, it could be a stress reliever. So if you're working all day or have something in your life that is providing stress for you, going for a walk, getting outside in nature, and hopefully getting your mind off of it, listening to some music or relaxing music or maybe a podcast. So those are all really, really good options. But you definitely want to just make sure that you're walking throughout the day, especially if you can. The next one, 8, reduce stress. So this is so important, and I think that a lot of times stress is overlooked, and stress actually can really impact our overall health and well-being. I've worked with multiple clients that have severe digestive upset or digestion problems, and we'll look at their diet, we'll switch up the diet, and although the diet does have an importance in that area, stress also does. So depending on where the stress is coming from, whether you have a job or you're in a relationship or you're just dealing with some issues in your life, how can you deal with it? And then too, it's not don't sweat the small stuff, right? And it's easier said than done. And this is kind of a continual practice that you need to work on, where if something is stressing you out, asking yourself, can you control that? Do you have control of what you're stressing out? And if you're not, then there's really no point and there's no purpose in stressing about that thing. Also, understanding that adding stress to yourself is only going to hurt yourself for the most part. Stress causes us to eat, or some people, it causes us not to eat. Stress causes us to get migraines or headaches. It disrupts our mood, our sleep. So, realizing that if we have all these stressors in our life, they could be impacting all these other areas of our life, which ultimately is affecting our health and well-being. All right, so number 9 is going to be sleep. And I remember growing up, it's like everyone was saying, okay, you could sleep when you're dead. But there's a lot of information out there and a lot of studies now talking about the importance of sleep and good quality sleep. So, you want to make sure that you're getting at least 7 to 8 hours a night. And for some people, that might not be feasible, but I would just encourage you, how can you get to bed a little bit earlier? Are you spending time on social media or watching TV? Where can you add in more sleep and go to bed early or wake up a little later if necessary? And in order to have more restful sleep, we really need to get off our screens 1 to 2 hours prior to bedtime at least, because that does stimulate our mind. And there are blue blocker sunglasses or even eyeglasses now that could help. But getting off the screens, getting off your TV, your phone, whatever it may be, and start having a bedtime routine. So, how do you create this relaxation of maybe you take a shower, you get in your pajamas, and maybe you're going to read a book, or maybe you're going to just do some deep breathing, or just relax a little bit in bed. Do a little bit stretching before bedtime is also a great option, but getting into a routine. So making sure that you're going to bed the same time each night, and also waking up the same time, especially even on weekends, is important to really build in that structure to make sure that you can have restful sleep. Some people have diffusers in their bedroom or light a candle. So again, figuring out what works best for you in order for you to have more restful sleep. There are people, and you could ask your doctor too, many people are deficient in magnesium, which magnesium could actually help relax and enable you to get more restful sleep. So that's an option as well. I actually just have like some magnesium droplets that I add in my water with some fresh lemon juice, and it helps with relaxation and also helps with more restful sleep. And then number 10 is self care. And I think a lot of us forget about ourselves and how important we are. And, just knowing that it will be difficult for you to help other people if you don't take care of yourself. So, doing more of what you love and also being kind to yourself, again, focusing on that progress over perfection. And any type of gratitude that you could add into your day could be extremely helpful of, providing a positive mindset for yourself, and also, boosting your mood. So it doesn't even have to be written down, but oh, there we go. But each day it's kind of waking up, and you don't have to write it down, or you can write it down in a journal. What are you grateful for? What are 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for? And it could be as simple as, like, you're grateful for your hot cup of coffee, or you're grateful for the ability that you could get outside for 10 minutes. But really focusing on that gratitude really puts us in a great mindset and a positive mindset, and makes us feeling good. Again, it also takes the stress away from focusing on maybe negative things that are going on in our life that are creating stress. So self-care could be anything. It could be, getting a massage or reading a book. Maybe it's taking a bath, going for a walk. Um, Something that I like to do for myself is each week write down 1 to 2 things that I want to focus on. Um, and that helps build these positive habits, or these healthy habits in our life. So we just went over these 10 daily healthy habits, but I would suggest don't just start saying, okay, I'm going to try all of these. Take 1 or 2, or the top 1 or 2 that really resonate with yourself, and start working on that. So maybe that you don't drink enough water, and maybe that you're eating too much sugar. So, writing those down, focusing on that for that week. And something you could do is kind of just make a chart, almost like Monday through Friday. And then on the left hand column, it would say you want to drink water, and you're going to avoid, added sugar. And then each day you could kind of put a check mark or a smiley face when you achieve that. And then, how are you going to treat yourself at the end of the week if you accomplish what you set to do for yourself? And I suggest not treating yourself with food, but is it, what is it, a book that you've been wanting? Maybe you want to go get a massage. Maybe you just want to take a bath. So how are you going to kind of reward yourself for implementing these healthy changes or these healthy habits into your life? And that's a really great way to hold yourself accountable, unless you have someone in your life, or another health coach, or a friend, a family member, whoever it is, to help hold you accountable in reaching your goals. And two, for most people, they're looking to lose weight, and just know that being a specific weight will not necessarily make you happy. So, with becoming healthier, maybe with losing weight, it's really understanding, why do you want to do it? And again, spending time, what is your why? This is a great, aspect to do, like when you're eating, maybe by yourself and you're not watching any TV, is just starting to think about these things. What is your why? Why do you want to get healthier? Why do you want to lose weight? What are some of your goals, and how are you going to achieve them? And then start slow, right? Because if we make all these changes overnight, a lot of times that they don't stick, or we might do it really well for a week and then it gets too challenging. So going back to starting with the 1 to 2 each week, and then you could start building onto there. Once they become a habit, then you're no longer thinking about it, right? Drinking water, once you're used to having your water bottle there and drinking a certain amount, you're no longer thinking about it. So these healthy habits become habits, right? They become easy. You're not thinking about what you have to do. And that's the same thing about, removing those processed foods as well. And we're going to go through it below. So the next is, how do you achieve a healthy lifestyle? And really, it's adding more of the good stuff in. And for most people, when I work with clients, their first thing is like, oh no, I can't give that up. Or I can't imagine not eating dairy or gluten or whatever it may be. People are so scared of losing the weight or what they're used to having in their life. But really, we're going to focus on the opposite. We're not going to necessarily, tell you that you can't eat something, but how do you add in more good things? So we were talking about adding in whole foods. Can you add in a salad each day? Maybe you're going to have it for lunch or dinner or as a snack, but could you add in a salad? Or maybe if you're someone that doesn't eat any vegetables, how do you incorporate one or two vegetables into your meals? Or for me, something that I'm working on this week is having a smoothie a day. And smoothies to me are great because I work a lot. So, and I work on the computer all day. So one of my goals is to just get outside for a walk for 20 minutes. And in order for me to do that, smoothies are great because they're on the go. I could drink them while at my desk. So again, progress over perfection because we want to eat at the table. But there are certain things that are great about smoothies. You could have a huge amount of nutrients in a drink. So I add spinach in there, chia seeds, which are great for omega 3s. I add in some flaxseed, which again, fiber. I add in some fresh fruit, so no added sugar. The sugar is just coming from the fruit. And then I'm adding in some cacao powder, which has magnesium in it. So there's many different options where you could start implementing these healthy lifestyle habits into your life. Um, and that's the same thing with water, vegetables, fruits, whole grains. I mean, I think summer is a great time to do this because I don't know about you, but in the winter, I don't really crave as much salad. I want more comforting and warm foods. But now, especially now in June, green leafy vegetables are in season. So it's a great time to add more into your routine. And also fruits too. I think some of us are scared to eat fruit because of the sugar content, but when you do eat the fruit, you are getting the fiber. And then what is the alternative? If you're adding some fresh mango, maybe you're going to have it with some organic, grass-fed yogurt and maybe some granola or a few raw nuts. How are you combining that fruit? And then, so the next one, don't go to the grocery store hungry and always bring a list. Or now, I don't know how many people are doing their shopping online, but try to avoid buying the unnecessary things. So again, if you're hungry before going to the grocery store, try to bring a snack. Maybe it's also, some raw almonds or raw cashews, whatever it may be, or some hard boiled eggs you're eating right before, but don't go to bed. Don't go to bed. Don't go to the grocery store hungry, and always bring a list. It helps keep you accountable and keep you on track. And also try to avoid the bakery section, avoid the middle aisles as well. You really want to focus on the produce. And then this is my favorite one, read ingredient labels. And I can't stress this enough how important reading ingredient labels are. And I started my own health journey over 8 years ago, and it really was because I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And before that, I had no idea that food could actually affect the way that we feel and our overall health. And I thought food was food. We know that alcohol and cigarettes and drugs are bad, but there's no warning label on food. And I think that is a really strong thing to talk about because I was once, I grew up on the standard American diet and I ate all this processed food because I thought, it's in the food store, how could it be bad for us? But the food that is on our shelves, it's filled with inflammatory oils, it's filled with sugar, salt, and then also all of these artificial flavorings and colors. And now more than ever, you also have to be concerned about the organic foods because I see people trying to eat healthier and provide healthier foods for their family and buy organic, but just because it's organic doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthy, or it says non-GMO doesn't mean that it's necessarily healthy either. So you might notice if you start reading your ingredient labels, natural flavors is commonly found on the ingredients, and those natural flavors are still created in a lab. They could involve up to 100 or contain up to 100 different compounds. So how much is that actually natural, right? So if it's natural flavors and it's blueberry, they might take the smallest part of the blueberry flavor and add it into the processed food. Meanwhile, the other is just all these other components that are supposedly natural. So again, being mindful of that, not to say that you have to be perfect, but when you go to the grocery store, start reading your ingredient labels. It is so important. And then the next is meal prep. And meal prep is going to look different for everyone based on your schedule. And for most people, they're intimidated by meal prep, or maybe they don't like to cook, but it really can be simple. One of my favorite things of doing is buying some potatoes and sweet potatoes, carrots, maybe zucchini, and just roasting, cutting it all up, roasting it on a baking sheet, and putting it in containers. And this way you could eat it throughout the week. So last night I had some roasted vegetables with a salad. You could also have it with eggs in the morning for your breakfast, or you could eat that for lunch as well. You could mix it with a protein. So the hardest part is, or the most time consuming part is roasting the vegetables. But if you make a large batch and then have it throughout the week, it makes it really convenient to just quickly throw together a meal. Again, salads are really easy. If you have a crock pot, you can make some crock pot meals. That's a great meal prep option as well. Smoothies are great. So there's a lot of great options. You could also just make a large pot of, say, quinoa or rice. This way you have that already made throughout the week as well. I also, especially in the summer months, love making quinoa salad. So really just cooking the quinoa, and then you could add in all these different roasted vegetables or whatever you have on hand. And I'm going to go through some recipes with you right after this as well, and you're going to have them. So hopefully you'll make them in your own kitchen. The next, we kind of talked about this, avoid the all or nothing mentality. It just doesn't work. And for many of us, right, we want to start our diet on Monday, and maybe we do really well Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday we eat a cookie and we think we're a failure and we have to start the next Monday. But I would like you to remove that from your mind. If you do start on Monday, give yourself some grace. You're not a failure if you ate that cookie. And if you choose to eat a cookie or whatever it may be, just focus on eating healthier for your next meal. If you eat a cookie, maybe the next meal you're going to have a salad, or focus on adding in different types of vegetables and fruits to your diet. So you actually will consume more calories if you start off really restrictive and then you decide to binge later in the week. So avoid that all or nothing mentality. Just focus on, again, the things that we spoke about: eating whole foods, eating when you're hungry. So mindful eating, all of that will help you achieve your goals in what you want to achieve in obtaining a healthy lifestyle. And then the next, celebrate the small wins. So journaling can really help focus on this. It doesn't have to be so time consuming, but when you're journaling, if you do your food journal, how are you feeling that day? How's your energy? How are your bowel movements? How are you feeling in general? And this is a great way to just document where you started and where you are today, and how maybe implementing some of these daily healthy habits helped you feel better or help improve your mood or lose weight or energy, whatever it may be. So definitely celebrate those small wins. And two, it could just be checking in with yourself again. If you're sitting down at a dinner table or going for a walk, checking in with how you're feeling, what are you doing consistently, and what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, what do you need to do more of. And then the last, just take time for yourself. I always say, a lot of times the day gets away from us. So, what can you control? Can you control your mornings? And for a lot of people, mornings are a great place to start because, you can wake up earlier if you wanted to go for your walk, start accomplishing some of these daily habits into your morning. So then by the time at night, it's not 7 or 8 o'clock, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't have a chance to go for a walk, or I didn't have a chance to make that smoothie, or whatever it may be. So, focus on taking time for yourself. And for different people, it's going to mean different things. I am old school and I have like a paper calendar, and I pencil in when I'm going to go for my walks or when I'm going to take time for myself. So, just being aware of your day. And then, we talked about this, focus on progress, not perfection. And I always say I'm a recovering perfectionist. And a lot of times, us focusing on that perfection actually holds us back and we're unable to move forward. So, keep focusing on those small wins. What can you do each day? And for a lot of people too, it's just focusing on the now, focusing on the day. What changes can you make that are ultimately going to make you healthier, feel better? Um, and that's the most important, because I think if there's anything that we've learned in this past over year is that our health is everything. If we are not healthy, then we kind of have nothing. So it's really important for us to be advocates of preventative health. What can we do in order to make ourselves more resilient and healthier? And it's not to say that if you do all these things, that's going to be a guarantee, but there are definitely things that we can eat and what we could implement into our lives to set us up for more success in being healthier. So now for the best part, recipes. This is a great breakfast or snack recipe, banana muffins. There's no added sugar here. So they're about 160 calories each muffin. You could see they're sweetened with bananas. And you just need a few ingredients. So it's eggs, vanilla extract. We're using almond flour. So this is a great grain-free and gluten-free option. They are really moist. So for some people, they refuse to eat gluten-free because it's gluten-free, but these are quite delicious, and you could always substitute a different flour if you wanted to. But a great option, just again, to meal prep so you set yourself up for success for that week. And then this is a great recipe for the summer if you're going to a barbecue or having people over, or even just by yourself. This is one of my favorite recipes for the summer, and it's definitely a crowd pleaser. I have some people in my family that are not, maybe the healthiest, and they love this recipe. So it's a cashew coleslaw. There's no mayonnaise in it, and the so-called sauce or the dressing is made from cashews, which you would soak. But the dressing is cashews. There's some olive oil in it, a little maple syrup for sweetness, but you can omit that if you are watching your sugar. And then there's tahini, which is made from sesame seeds, lemon juice, garlic, and then you really just need carrots and red cabbage. You could also do this with green cabbage as well, but I find that red cabbage, to me, I like that crunch. It holds up much better. And this is a side dish, but yeah, so you will be emailed all these recipes. So right after this, I'm going to send Peter this document. So you'll have all of this, and you'll have all the recipes, and he'll send it to you. So you will definitely have these recipes. But this is a great side dish if you're having a barbecue. I also eat it as a meal. I'll have it with some just some like avocado, but you could serve this with grilled chicken or steak, whatever type of protein that you wanted, tofu, or maybe, again, if you're going in a barbecue, a turkey burger, a veggie burger, whatever you want. But I definitely highly recommend this. Super simple to make. It also holds up really nice in the refrigerator as well. So another great item that you can meal prep ahead of time. That's not going to take a lot of time. I also shred my carrots and the red cabbage in my food processor. If you don't have one, you don't need to, but it makes things go a little quicker. And then I gave you guys a link here too that I have more recipes um, on my website as well. I'm just going to pull them up here. So these are some of my favorite quick and easy recipes that are my go-tos, especially when I'm really busy. I don't have time to cook or I don't feel like cooking. And I'll pull all those up here. A veggie stir fry. A stir fry is honestly a must-have in your pocket. You really could use whatever vegetables you have on hand, and then you could serve your vegetables with brown rice or white rice, maybe some brown rice noodles, or you could do some cauliflower rice. So again, it's just a really simple meal that I really believe once you start making certain recipes, they become much easier for you that you could just quickly put it together. This is made with a peanut sauce. So I'm using peanut butter. I recommend definitely using an organic peanut butter if you're able to. And the reasoning is that peanuts are highly pesticides, so just something to keep that in mind. But there's a peanut sauce. If you're allergic to peanuts, you could obviously use an almond butter instead, or maybe a sunflower seed butter, whatever you would prefer. But again, really simple to make. Use whatever vegetables you have on hand. And two, sometimes if I have leftover rice, I'll add it into my stir fry and it just makes a quick meal. I always put tons of vegetables in. So the more vegetables, the better. The vegetables, again, right? They're going to create bulk to your meal. They're full of fiber, nutrients, and they're going to help you feel full and satiated so you don't continue to eat. And also, so you don't waste your calories on empty calories. The next is a quinoa salad. Again, I love this recipe. These are my go-tos. And the best part about these recipes is that you really can substitute ingredients, use what you enjoy, eat the vegetables that you like, and maybe try some new ones. So this quinoa salad is full of vegetables. We're using carrots, scallions, parsley. I'm using sun-dried tomatoes because I love them. And then we're making a red wine vinaigrette. So again, another great recipe where you could serve it as a side dish or serve it as a main dish as well. And it holds up in the fridge for a good amount of time. A frittata, if you eat eggs, sometimes, or maybe a lot of times, I am an advocate for breakfast as dinner. And frittatas are a great way to use up leftover vegetables. Or if you made those roasted vegetables I was talking about a little earlier, you could throw these into a frittata. So again, you just kind of need eggs, your vegetables. Maybe you want to do some leftover potatoes or rice. You really could put anything in there. And then, serving this with a side salad if you can is a great option. And then cauliflower fried rice. Again, another simple recipe. I use frozen cauliflower rice, which I actually get at Costco. They come in individual bags. So it's great if you could buy, get fresh vegetables, but I also love keeping frozen vegetables in my freezer because if I don't have time to go to the grocery store, it enables me to always have vegetables on hand. So the cauliflower rice is a great option. This is made with onions and garlic, carrots, peas. You could add some egg into that. You could add in another protein. And of course, you could add in broccoli or whatever other vegetables, you'll have. So those are just a kind of a few recipes. The other one too, salmon cakes. These are really simple to make, and great to eat with the quinoa salad or a regular salad as well. So there's a lot of great options for you. So I encourage you. I'm going to send Peter all these recipes so you have them, and I definitely encourage you to try them. Let me know what you think. But even if you don't like cooking, cooking is a great way, and I do think that it is necessary to cook somewhat in order to really be healthy. And it doesn't need to mean that you're spending tons of time in the kitchen. Also, something to note that cooking for some people could be a stress reliever. And also, you could listen to a podcast or music while you're cooking. Maybe that's your time to catch up with a friend, and you call someone during that time. So don't necessarily think about cooking as a chore. Instead, look at it as a way that you are taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself and your body with providing it with amazing nutrients. Because when you go to a restaurant and you get takeout food, you really don't necessarily know what's in that food. And a lot of times they are using inflammatory oils, or they're adding in a lot more salt than you need, or even some sugar as well. So, I think I spoke a lot, or was talking a lot for this past hour, and I'm just gonna kind of give everyone a minute. If you have any other questions or want me to clarify anything, I'm happy to do so. But I will. Yeah, so someone's just asking what ingredients to avoid. And in processed foods, there's a lot. Mainly it's sugar, but sugar can mean different things. So there's high fructose corn syrup. So the labeling on sugar could be different. So high fructose corn syrup, I would say definitely avoid. Anything that ends in OSE, so glucose is going to be sugar, any type of white sugar, even natural sugars, if you could avoid it, I would recommend. It's not to say that you could never have a cookie, but if you do want a cookie, can you make a healthier cookie at home? Or can you use natural sweeteners such as applesauce or banana to sweeten your foods as well? The next would be salt. Any artificial flavors, artificial sugars, I recommend as well. So a lot of people would drink diet soda or diet Snapple, but diet soda most likely has aspartame in it, which a lot of these artificial ingredients actually make you crave more of that food. So being mindful of that. Sometimes people are drinking a lot of diet soda, or drinking and eating all these diet beverages, but they're actually gaining weight, because it's going to make you crave more of the other foods that are not going to serve your body in a positive way. So anything artificial. And then I would just be mindful of, I always tell clients, if you do not know what the ingredient is, most likely you should avoid it. And that's a really good rule of thumb. I also, when I'm reading an ingredient label, if it has more than like 5 ingredients, I just put it down, because really it's unnecessary. And things like pasta, it's not to say that you can't have pasta. There's just better pastas out there. So, and maybe an organic brown rice pasta, or maybe, chickpea pasta is quite popular now as well. But also being mindful that, even though it's made out of chickpeas, it is heavily processed. So again, you just being aware of these things, but definitely read your ingredient labels. I would say a lot of people just get hung up in that aspect of just adding food into their cart, or just reading the front packaging. When I go to the store, especially I told you keto, I went into Costco and everything is geared. It's like keto crackers, keto this, but when you read the ingredients, it has like erythritol in it, and some of these other sugars, and just again, anything packaged is going to be heavily processed. And it's something to say, when you eat a vegetable or fruit, that is a living thing. Meanwhile, when you take something off the shelf, it is dead. There's no life to it. So just being mindful of that. But that's a great question. But yeah, just start reading ingredient labels, educate yourself. Um, is so important. But you know, the more you could limit the processed foods, the better you'll be off. But Oh, thank you so much, Janet. So I'm glad that everyone enjoyed this. Again, I'm going to send Peter all of this information so you'll have it and you'll be able to try out those recipes. And I hope you all enjoy. And thank you for spending your Wednesday night with me. So I'm happy to be here and I'm glad that I could provide some education for everyone and hopefully you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Jessica.
You're welcome.